remember to just chat amongst each other, okay? 1, 2, 3, on the go, guys. Stop there. Stop there. I want you to imagine that you're charging the McDonald's, okay, in a big fight. Right. So Andy, you come forward a wee tiny bit. When I shout 1, 2, 3, go, kid on use a McDonald's, one up. Are you ready? It's a race, boys. 3, 2, 1, go!
I thought this was a photo!
Really sort of you always start that the worrying thing is that I learned my lesson. Try a bit more.
Where did you learn to farm?
Give me a bit of a hard time. So he's wisely chosen somebody different to me for obvious reasons. I'm not going to go on and on and on. I can't do this. Instead, I'm going to hand you over to James, and here's the best man, James.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I start by congratulating Andrew and Margaret on their big day and welcoming Margaret wholeheartedly into the Campbell family. It gives me a lot of pleasure to be here with them today, and it really is a very happy occasion. Before I go on with my speech, Andy specially requested that I do not forget to thank the bridesmaids for making sure Margaret showed up today. Although I'm not entirely comfortable with forced marriage, I would agree, and you look particularly lovely today. Now, as Andy's best man, with the responsibility of making a speech, I feel in a fortunate position today. Since I got married first, Andy has already had his chance to make fun of me, which I may add, he took full advantage of. So Andy, now it's my turn. There are some of you here who probably don't know Andy very well, including, I can only assume, Margaret herself. So I'm going to try to fill you in on the whole Andy, what he's really like. You may be thinking I'm going to try and tell some embarrassing stories about Andy from his childhood. Well, it turns out Andy doesn't get embarrassed too easily. In fact, to embarrass Andy, I would probably have to tell you about the time he was left red-faced in the local hardware store in Portree after he fell victim to an April Fool's Day prank. Well, that's just not a story for his wedding. So instead, I'm going to try and impart some of my extensive knowledge of Andy to you all. Hopefully this will help Margaret adjust to living with him. There are three main cautions or warnings I feel it my duty to give about Andy. Firstly, beware if Andy ever attempts to show off to you in the cab. History repeatedly shows this can only end badly for you. Indeed, the last female passenger he tried showing off to, by showing off I refer to pulling handbrake turns on a single-track road, ended up pushing his Nissan Micra out of the ditch in front of the entire local football team behind the scene of the accident, whilst Andy took the strain at the wheel. Secondly, be careful if Andy ever offers to cook. As you may know, Andy loves cooking. He thinks of himself as a master chef, on a par with perhaps Gordon Ramsay. His speciality in the kitchen is a concoction of 90% of the spice rack on whatever happens to be the choice of the day. This technique goes under the name of adding a bit of flavour. When I once dared to question his choice of seasoning after watching pomegranate and lime being generously applied to a chicken breast, he quickly informed me I had no clue about flavour. Thirdly, don't expect chivalry from Andrew. Even Andrew's most romantic gesture, while on a picturesque walk in the countryside with Margaret on a crisp winter's day, involved him stubbornly hogging the only pair of available gloves. Only after his own hands were cosy warm and Margaret's turning blue with the cold did Andy offer her a shot. Turns out he had selected the gloves as the perfect hiding place for an engagement ring. Very convenient. If I had to sum up Andy, the first thing that springs to mind is overgrown kid. Whenever there's children about, Andy loves to get involved with playing with the kids, keeping the kids amused. However, the roles are usually reversed into the children, or rather the children's toys, keeping Andy amused. As he hogs their little squeaky toys. This is, after all, the boy who, well into his high school years, could be found playing in the mud, making vroom vroom noises. On the positive side, I'm sure Margaret's delighted to know her husband is so child-friendly. You may be thinking Andy will have to grow up fast, now he's marrying such a sensible accountant. However, don't be fooled by Margaret's profession. When Margaret's not in her sensible KPMG shoes, she can be found on exciting days out at Hamley's, toy shopping for Andy. I must say, I have seen some changes in Andrew since he met Margaret. Perhaps he's got slightly more responsible. However, I'm sure Margaret still sees him as a work in progress. And Andy, I've been told to pass on some advice from the married men in the room. Get used to it. Now this one may come as a surprise to some of you. Andy is quite the little sweetie wife. He loves nothing better than a good natter about all the local news. Has this got anything to do with why you're marrying a girl from Harris? I cannot finish without retelling a conversation I overheard between Margaret and Andrew last week. I believe the conversation started with a comment about how slow Andy is at the housework. Andy obviously retorted with a smart response of, "That's only because I clean the dishes properly and don't leave creases all over the shirts." To which Margaret calmly replied, "That's fine, you can iron all your own shirts from now on." And Andy, in a fit of argumentativeness, signed up to doing all the ironing and dishes for the rest of the marriage. The ability to put Andy in his place confirms to me he's met his perfect match. For most of my life, I've seen Andrew as not only my brother, but also my best friend. It gives me a lot of happiness when I see Andy and Margaret together today, not only as husband and wife, but clearly as best friends as well. I just want to finish by saying, I'm sure on behalf of everyone here, a big thank you to Mr. and Mrs. MacDonald for putting on such a wonderful day. We've all enjoyed it so much. And to Andy and Margaret, we wish you all the best, and most importantly, God's blessing in your future life together. Thank you.
Lord's my shepherd, I not want. He makes me down to lie in pastures green. He leadeth me the quiet waters by. My soul is restored again. I need to walk again within the paths of righteousness. Yea, though I walk in death's dark vale, yet will I fear no ill, for thy breath me and thy rod stand me comfort still. My table thou hast furnished in presence of my foes. My head thou dost with oil anoint, and my cup overflows. Goodness and mercy all my life shall surely follow me, and in the sun's forevermore, my dwelling there shall be.
Strong pull.
Into 11 already.